Welcome to the ZIZO Effect podcast, where we talk about all things gamified. In today's episode, we are going to take a deeper dive into gamification across industries. We will identify the ways industry powerhouses such as Peloton, Starbucks, and Duolingo use gamification to drive their product success. Get ready, it's game time. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the ZIZO Effect podcast. My name is Andrew J. Reimers. With me is our in-house gamification expert, Mr. Jimmy Chebat. And Jimmy, do you know one time I bowled 23 strikes in a row?
Holy cow. I don't think I may have done 23 gutter balls in a row.
All right.
Younger,
wow.
So fun
Touche.
fact. If I'm going to match you here, I was MVP in my street hockey league when I was 10 years old.
Is that
There
right?
you
A
go.
sanctioned league.
Sanctioned, yes.
Okay.
I guess if you want to use that term.
Oh, okay.
It's a street hockey league. Yeah, it's not ice hockey.
That's awesome. No, it's great to be here again with you, Jimmy. You know, the response and the feedback from episode 1 has been so great. A lot of people are interested in gamification. And as we always do and always will, we're going to start our episode with a game that we like to call
Name the Game.
Now, for this segment, our wonderful producers backstage, Emma and Alex, are going to be playing us a song from a video game. And it's up to us to see who can come up with the game first.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to play 2 songs.
Well, we are.
And let's remember, this one's just for you and I.
This one's just for us.
Okay. At the first episode, if you guys remember, too easy. We called it a draw.
Called it a
We
draw.
are going to keep score.
We're both 0-0-1.
That's gamification. Like
It is.
I mean, not everybody wins a prize here, right? So, well, in the first episode, yes, but
Hey, sitting here with
Okay.
you is my participation trophy, Jimmy.
we've got some trophies back here. I think one of them had your name on
It
it.
does 3 times.
Nice.
No, but you're absolutely right. We're going to be doing a live guess, and then we are going to give a chance to our audience to participate as well.
Okay.
And we're going to play a second song. And if they can name the game,
They win a prize.
they do win a prize. And
Yes.
would you like to tell them what is the prize?
Yes. We'll go back to the same prizes in episode 1. We won't let the first person win it twice, but this beautifully crafted ZIZO hat, if you can zoom in there, it's amazing. It's got our ZIZO logo. It's not over branded.
Show them the inside. Show them the inside.
The inside there. I don't know if you can see it. It's game time. It's game time. Little logo on the back here as well. I don't want to oversell it. It's a great hat. I think whoever wins it's going to enjoy it. So why don't we get started? Let's get the first game out of the way first.
Emma, Alex, let's hear it.
Do we hit a buzzer?
We need buzzers, don't we?
buzzer.
You got the answer. I can see it in your eyes.
I do. I remember this one. I know there were multiple versions of it, but it's Tetris, right? No, it wasn't. Is it Tetris?
I'm not giving you the answer.
No. Yes.
All right.
Okay. I got confused for a second. I thought it was a different game.
Let me just
There was
say,
only one version of Tetris. Yes.
Let me just say, I can see it in your eyes. If this was named that tune, you would have had it in 1 note. I definitely had it in about 3 notes, but I'll give you the win on this one.
All right. Okay.
You're 1-0-1.
We will have a buzzer so that way we know who gets the guess. Or just yell it out.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
no,
Did you
that's
see
good.
recently, for the first time ever,
Yeah, somebody beat it.
a 13-year-old
Yeah.
caused Tetris on NES to crash?
Yes.
He got so far in it, the game couldn't handle it anymore, and he's the
Yeah.
first human being in history to do it.
That's actually quite amazing. I mean,
It is.
when did that come out? That game?
Oh, gosh. That was an
it's
arcade
old.
game in maybe late 70s. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll have somebody fact check
I think
this,
the big thing with that game, it was on. Is it the Game Boy, right? Because I remember playing it as a handheld.
It was the game that came with the Game Boy when it first
Okay,
came out.
that's
However,
what it is.
Tetris pre-existed the Game Boy for
Okay.
maybe a decade.
I mean, I know I love playing it, but it was when it was in my hand when you can play it anyways. And that's a really big turning point in gaming, is when it became handheld, when you weren't tethered to a TV screen or a game console where you had to sit in front of a TV where you can bring it with you wherever you wanted. And really, the only limitation is the battery life.
Yeah, 4 AA batteries.
Yeah,
give you about 45 minutes of playing time back in the day, but we loved it as a kid.
And I think I mentioned it in my first episode. I have 5 siblings. We used to fight a lot over that game, and any handheld game, because, man, my mom had a hard time keeping 6 of us quiet. So the games were one of the ways that she kept us occupied, at least. I wouldn't say quiet. But anyways, we got a second song.
We have a second song.
A second game, yes.
We're not allowed to say the name, even if we know the answer. So I want to remind you. But I have a feeling it'll spark some memories and we can have discussion, but no giving away the answer this time like we did last week.
All right. All right. Well, we didn't give it away. We just gave some clues. So hopefully you don't need any clues. But go ahead, Emma, to name that game.
You know what's funny about this? If people are looking closely, this game is literally in our room right now.
Wow, okay. So you are giving hints. You just
I've given hints. I'm just not giving spoilers.
Wow. So really focus in. I don't know if our cameraman wants to kind of get a really good view. We'll show every angle here, so you get an idea. Hopefully it's in the scene. Meaning it's...
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It is.
All right. So I'm going to assume it's somewhere in here. Another big hint.
Yes,
all right.
absolutely.
Guys, remember, please go ahead.
Drop your answers on our socials, whether that be Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. Find us at Play ZIZO, or leave comments and wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube.
Yeah. Or don't forget about our website, www.playzizo.com.
You're right.
Yeah.
I always forget about the website.
Yeah, it's old school.
I know, it is. It is. But let's transition one.
Sure.
No, you're right. That is old school. Jimmy, we talked last episode about so many different facets of our lives that are touched by gamification. And there was one example that you used in particular that really stuck with me, and I have a feeling stuck with a lot of our listeners, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to dive a little bit more into this. And that was the success of Peloton. And basically, what I want to ask you as our gamification expert is, what did they do to change the game in fitness?
There's a lot there. But let me start with maybe a story, or at least ask the question. I mean, how many of you guys work out, right? I mean, exercise fitness has been, it's a challenge for everybody to commit to until I think there's a hump that you get over around a 6-week period. If you do it consistently, it starts to become part of your lifestyle, right? If you do it consistently for a year, it's definitely embedded in your day to day. But imagine going to the gym by yourself, and trying to be, and, again, January 1st, we talked about this last time, how everybody makes that New Year's resolution. How does it stick, right? So imagine going January 1st by yourself, and then you got to motivate yourself to get there on the second day and the third day and the fourth day and get past February 1st, right? So when you go to the gym, it's a lot easier when you go with a partner. I have the benefit and the ability to work out with a trainer. It's a luxury, right? And really the reason why I do is because I wouldn't leave my office if I didn't. I love work, but when he gives you a goal, say, hey, get up there and do 10 push-ups. For me, when I get to around 7, 8, I start getting exhausted and I'm struggling to get to the 9th and then finishing up the 10th, and I'm down after 10. But if I'm sitting there with a partner and we're going side by side, and we're saying, let's see who could do the most pull-ups, I'm being driven by how much he's doing and how tired he looks. And so I keep going. There are no limits, and I'm way past 10 each and every time. So it's that community engagement, the leaderboards, right? That when you see somebody that is doing better than you, it's going to push you to do better, right? So it's not just about the competition, but it's also a sense of community, that you're part of something. So community engagement, I would put that as one of the ways that they've successfully built that brand. Goal setting. again, we talked about getting 10. Most of us can get to 10. But what is the next goal going to be? Is it always going to be 10? Or are we going to shoot for 11 next time or for 12? Users can set their fitness goals. And with the app, I believe they continuously push you so you don't plateau, so that you're not sitting idle and constantly doing the same thing. There are milestones and progression. And so to enhance that motivation capacity. But one of the most effective tools of gamification is that extrinsic motivator. It's rewards, recognition, right? So winning badges, that's literally, it's a digital badge. It's not like they ship you something to your house and you're walking around with it and everybody like, oh, look at Andrew, he's got a Peloton badge.
Big chain hanging down.
Yeah. But on the app, it is.
Yeah.
When you've got those badges, you wear it with a sense of honor, right? And it's a sense of accomplishment. And for people who are just getting into fitness, this is a great way to keep them engaged and keep them motivated, is by providing that, hey, there's a reward at the end of the tunnel. It's dangling that carrot, right? And making that carrot reachable and achievable. And when you get it, it's a really good tasting carrot. And then they give you another carrot. And it's usually a bigger carrot. So there's no sense of, what's the term I'm looking for? Complacency, right? There's no sense of complacency. And then, the last piece I think is really, really important is the real-time feedback loop. Okay. And that's critical. Because if you do something good, usually when you work out, it takes a little bit of time to see the results. You'll get there, right? But that feedback loop, like, hey, you've got to get to here. You've got to beat this person. You're going to get to third place on the leaderboard or first place on the leaderboard. It'll show you in real time how you're doing. It measures your heart rate. It measures the calories that you've burned. So your goals are going to be achieved, and you're going to be calculated. You're going to give them that feedback in real time. So combine all of those and more, but those are just the high level things that make Peloton such an amazing brand.
Yeah, I even I'm not a big workout guy, but I do like yoga, and there's I
can tell,
yoga program. DDP Yoga. He's a former pro wrestler who actually hurt his back and he couldn't lift weights anymore, and he developed this. Anybody can look up DDP Yoga, on their own time if they want. But the thing that I loved that came along with it was the app, because the app could tell when you finished a workout, and the video had to play all the way through. And when the video played all the way through, it triggered a game, so that the rewards I was earning every time I completed a workout and made it through the 28 minutes, whatever it was, I got to spin a wheel and got to try to 5X, 10X, 25X my bonus. Again, like you're saying, this isn't something physical. I wasn't earning money, but the feeling that I got, post-workout, I'm already feeling good. My energy is up, endorphins are flowing, everything is good. But then I'm earning rewards on top of it, and I'm being patted on the back. So yes, I look in the mirror. I'm not necessarily happy with the way that I look, but I still feel better because I got to play a game.
Yeah, combine those endorphins with dopamine.
Yeah,
right? It's a killer combo.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And our audience too, we'd love to hear your stories. Please comment and tell us kind of if this is relatable. We'd love to hear your story about how maybe gamification, an app, a wearable device, whether it's the Fitbit or the Apple Watch or an app on your iPhone that helped get you over that hump. Because again, once you start to see the real results, right, in body and health and wellness, it becomes intrinsic, right? It starts to go from extrinsic to intrinsic, but people need that push. Yeah. It's very effective.
No, you're right. And, you're talking about making yourself physically well, physically strong. How about keeping yourself mentally sharp? We talked about childhood education on the last episode, and my son going through the COVID lockdown. Your kids went through the same thing. But that isn't just for early childhood or childhood education. It also goes along with us as adults. And as important as it is to keep your body fit and keep yourself in shape and eat right and do all the things to keep your body healthy, keeping your mind healthy is just as important. We mentioned Duolingo, the language learning app, as another application that has used gamification to take something that is difficult, to take something that can be mundane, to take something that can be repetitive, and make it fun. And I was wondering, not to steal some of your thunder there, but really, why don't you talk a little bit about Duolingo, some of the approaches they took, how they're similar to Peloton, maybe how they're different, and really how they found the success they've found through gamification.
I want to say that almost the same exact things, and I'm gonna piggyback on top of Duolingo with a recent app that I've been playing and I've actually introduced to my kids. But real quick on Duolingo and learning an app, if anybody's ever tried to learn a new language, it's hard. I mean, it's hard putting that work in. I mean, in elementary school, I think I took French for 8 years. I took it for 4 more years. In high school, I took it for a couple of years. In college, I can't remember anything. Like it's really hard to retain and recall and new information, especially in a language that's foreign, right? So, they use some of the same sort of game mechanics, right? Streaks, points. Streaks are really important, and people love streaks, which is because it motivates them. I don't want to lose my streak. Right? If you've been putting in the work 5 days in a row, 6 days in a row, 7 days in a row, 14, 21, 30, you get that far and you're getting much, much bigger rewards. You start from the very beginning if you miss a day. So it's a motivational tool that right away, hey, I'm going to go do my work, do my tasks, my lessons, so that way I can do 31 days, and you're going to keep going. And it's that consistency that helps people, again, not only stay engaged with the app, but learn what they're supposed to be learning. Levels, leaderboards. Again, being able to do it with a partner, right? That community engagement, it's a lot easier. And if you've got a partner at home, whether it's a family member, your significant other, to learn a new language together, it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And Duolingo does an amazing job of giving you the mechanics to keep you engaged, so that way you don't fall off. I've been doing this for a long time with my kids, and some people may criticize it, like they shouldn't need motivation, but I've been rewarding my kids for their report cards. When they come home, we have a point system, and then that's related to a dollar amount. So you get over a certain grade, you can earn $10. You get even above that, it's up to $20. $20 is the biggest reward. But if you get below, you can be penalized as well. So we have it both ways.
You give your kids bills.
I charge them for a lot. They have to buy their own things. So I give them many. So this is it's a different way, for outside of just chores, to motivate them to do better in school. And, most people can debate me on the fact, hey, they shouldn't need any other motivation. It's going to school. Go ahead, go back to school. Remember the days that you went to school. I wish I had that additional incentive to, hey, if I can get an honor roll, there's an extra bonus for me. And that helps them later in life. And there's more opportunities for them when they're on the honor roll.
Yeah. No, I remember as a kid, but I think my mom was using gamification for me in the same way with my report cards, but it was way more out of desperation than anything. It was like,
it's the penalty, right?
Please just pass. I'll buy you whatever you want.
I agree with you 100%. If we didn't get on the honor roll, I remember getting punished for getting on the merit roll. And it was like, and back then, nowadays, my kids, it's like 93 to get on the honor roll. It was 90 for us.
They moved the goalpost.
Moved the goalpost, and thank goodness for us. But I got an 89.5, and I was on a mirror. I missed it by a half a point, and I got punished for a couple of days, and it was really frustrating for me because I thought I did really well, but just not good enough. So negative reinforcement is just as effective as positive reinforcement. So gamification can go both ways.
It can.
And I mean, in a video game, you can lose, right? You lose, and you have to start all the way back from the beginning in some of the games. And, negative reinforcement is just as good.
Yeah. You know what I think is really interesting too with Duolingo, that I won't claim to have had any success with it. But I think something that goes along with this as well is really the personalized learning paths, because not everybody does learn the same way. So the principles of gamification and the game mechanics that go into this can cater to individuals based on how they choose to learn and how they want to learn. I've seen other, platforms and things that incorporate gamification that, you can choose how you want to play, what you want to play, when you want to play, and things like that. So I think that's another really important aspect where it isn't just a one-size-fits-all scenario.
Yeah, I mean, not every game is successful, right? I mean, if you go back and we talk about actual video games,
E.T.
I never played E.T., but
Did
I
you
remember
hear the story about that?
No. What is it?
Well, it's known as like one of the worst video games ever produced in history because it was rushed. And apparently somewhere there's like hundreds of thousands of copies of it buried in a landfill. And there's only a few that exist. But yeah, it's definitely something, homework for our audience at home. Look into the E.T. video game. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
I'm going to have to look it up. Maybe that's why I never played it. It probably had such a bad reputation. For me, there's one game in particular called Top Gun. Yeah. And I remember the movie came out and the game came out. I couldn't get past level 2. I couldn't figure it out. You had to like re-gas up in the middle of the air, and I'm like flying up into the sky and trying to figure out how to get to the next level. So games can be either too easy. If you're going through the game super fast, it's not fun. It really isn't fun. You do need a challenge, and that challenge has to be incrementally more difficult than the previous levels. But it also can't be too difficult, because if you can't get past the level, people are just going to quit. So game design is a critical element of gamification. It's an art form, and it's becoming more and more in demand as you can see. The gaming industry is booming, skyrocketing. It's at all-time highs. I believe it's a $600 billion industry, if not a $1 trillion industry. I'll have to do the research, and we'll bring that up in another episode.
Cool. No, you're right. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And, I had one kind of funny story, because I talked on the previous episode that I didn't really know what gamification was. When I first took the job at ZIZO, I just needed a job, and I knew you, and I was like, I trust this guy. So, this is going to be fine. He invented something incredible. I've since learned it, stems way back to multiple centuries BC. But anyway, we had somebody who got in touch with ZIZO, and it was through Duolingo, because he was sitting in an airport. And trying to get home. His flight was delayed and delayed and delayed and canceled. And then his next flight was delayed, and he was stuck in the airport for hours, if not days.
Yeah.
And he decided that he was going to learn the language. And he pulled up Duolingo, downloaded it, signed up, and realized very quickly how good it was making him feel. And he immediately attributed that to the company that he owns, and how could I make this work? But I think the most interesting part was that I don't like traveling to begin with. If I have the smallest inconvenience in my travels, it ruins my entire year.
Yeah. When's the last time you traveled?
Last time I traveled was in November.
Okay.
And it went
it's
pretty
horrible.
smoothly. It went pretty smoothly, surprisingly, against all odds. Okay. But I think the coolest part about
we traveled together.
We did.
Yeah, yes. Right. We got lucky.
One of the coolest parts about this is that he was stuck in an airport, which, first world problems, it's up there on the top of the list of like terrible experiences. Yet he was finding joy. He was energized. He was learning, and he was feeling good through a terrible situation, just because of gamification.
Yeah, I mean, how rewarding is it to be able to learn a new language? And that, I don't know if he was alone or if he was with somebody at the time, but it's definitely a distraction, right? When you're dealing with a situation that's, obviously not enjoyable. Nobody wants to get stuck in an airport, and whether it's you're going to miss a connecting flight, which will delay your travels even further, or you're on your connecting flight and you're trying to get to an event that maybe is scheduled, as most of us really do. That's the purpose of traveling, unless it's for personal pleasure. But that distraction is part of part of the benefits, right? It can be used, and we'll talk about it in future episodes when we get into the workforce gamification.
So if you don't mind, Jimmy, we're going to switch gears from language apps to lattes. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Imagine a coffee shop where your morning caffeine fix earns you more than just a quick pick-me-up. Could you imagine that? Are you picturing it in your mind?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Where every purchase rewards you with points. And that's the experience Starbucks set up with their reward system. But why would a coffee giant like Starbucks, who's already the most successful coffee business in the entire world, add elements of gamification, and what does it do for their brand?
So why would they do it? I mean, that's an easy one. If they've studied gamification, if they've seen the impact of gamification on other brands, and the effectiveness of gamification, of course, why wouldn't you do it would be the better question, right? But what benefits does it give them, and what's its purpose is a different question altogether. And of course, a big part of that is customer loyalty. Right? How do I get people coming back for more? I don't know about you, but if brands come and go, right? You take a look at Best Buy. Best Buy wasn't always the leader in electronic goods, right? Circuit City, Radio Shack, there's a bunch. And if you don't adapt to using the newest and greatest stuff, you're gonna be a fly by night operation pretty soon. Not that it was Circuit City was a fly by night. It was a big company.
No, but you're right. I mean, I think you immediately bring to mind for me Blockbuster Video.
Yeah.
They could have changed with the times. They could have gone to a digital age. However, Netflix is still here, and Blockbuster Video. I use my father-in-law's Blockbuster Video card to chop up my weed. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to give you more reasons as to why they would do it. Of course, data collection, right? So if you got people coming in, and it's not just Starbucks that's doing it, all your grocery stores are doing it. They've been doing it for a while. They give you that bonus club card where you can have savings. Really, they're collecting data. They're looking at your habits. They're comparing your habits with everybody else's habits. They're identifying the peak times where they can inflate prices, or the more importantly, actually Las Vegas does that. I don't know if you noticed in your hotel room, if you've got the ones where in the refrigerator and you take it off, they know on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings after a long weekend, they inflate the price of a water to $20. And then every other time it's a lot cheaper. You don't know this. They don't tell you, but that's what they do. But Starbucks does it, where it's not necessarily inflating, but they're looking at the times that are slower, and they'll give you double your points, triple your points, come in and buy it between this time and this time. Restaurants do that as well. What do you think happy hour is, right? Let's get people in after work, because let's not let them go home, have them get a pit stop in. It's not really our busy time, so we'll give away 2-for-1s. So data collection is a big part of why also the benefit for them to do so. Ultimately, the output is increasing their sales, right? Yeah. Getting more sales. And that's why they continue to be a successful business, and they continue to grow and add more stores across the entire world.
No, it's fascinating stuff. I mean, it really is. And again, I'm going to say this, I'm going to keep saying it. There are so many elements of gamification in life that I never even thought of. There are so many ways that I am earning rewards and earning loyalty points and earning all those things. But the funny part is when you get those rewards and those bonus points, and you feel loyal, right? You feel loyal to that brand. Like, wow, they're investing in me. They want me to be here, so I want to be here to support them. And that's how you become, you're a Tim Hortons guy? Well, I'm a Starbucks guy, and let me tell you why. And I'm going to give you all the reasons and become a brand ambassador, all because I've been spending extra money because I get rewards every time I do. And it's just a fascinating thing for me.
Yeah. But it robs us of variation, right? A variety. I mean, we don't explore anymore. So, I mean, that tells you how effective this tool is to stay with one type of cup of coffee. Of course, there's the other part, the fixation on the flavor and all that stuff. But, I mean, if you have an opportunity to go someplace else, you second guess it, right? And you say, well, I don't want to lose out on the rewards. I'm this close to getting my free cup of coffee. So, again, going back to that episode with Elaine Bennis in the show Seinfeld, she works so hard to get those punches. You just don't want to miss out on the reward.
Well, and I think that the joke is even like their sandwiches aren't even that good.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. I forgot that part.
Yeah. No, that's great. And all just, again, an awesome glimpse. I mean, we are just skimming the surface of gamification and where it is in the world. We talked retail, we talked education, we talked fitness. Again, there's still an area of our lives that I want to dive into. However, In our next episode, we'll look into why engagement is not just a game, but a crucial strategy in retaining talent. We'll explore the causes behind employee turnover, how gamification can be a game changer in workplace engagement, and the strategies to implement this innovative approach effectively. So stay tuned, listeners, as we continue to explore the powerful impact of gamification in our lives. Get ready, it's game time.